Brett Kavanaugh story has hurt an awful lot of people already, but the biggest victim may be America's basic sense of justice. Norms like the presumption of innocence, due process, fairness itself have all been shoved aside in a political frenzy. Question is, could tomorrow's hearing start to undo the damage? Joining us now is a man who has relentlessly defended fairness at great personal cost, and even when it has worked against the interests of the party he votes for, the Democrats. He is, of course, Alan Dershowitz, a retired Harvard law professor, the author of The Case Against Impeaching Trump, and we welcome him now. Professor, thanks very much for coming on.
Thank you.
So what do you want, not as a partisan or someone who votes for Democrats, but as someone who cares about preserving our justice system, what do you want to see in these hearings tomorrow?
I want to see the greatest engine of truth ever invented used effectively, namely cross-examination. And I'm worried that we don't have the right people. The woman who has been hired to conduct the cross-examination has probably rarely ever cross-examined anybody. She's a prosecutor. Prosecutors put on cases. Mostly defendants don't take the stand. And so this is a woman with 20 years of experience as a prosecutor, but no experience as a defense attorney. So I don't think she's the right person to question Dr. Ford. And there needs to be cross-examination, not only of her, but of the new Avenatti allegation. That affidavit is so deeply flawed and so open-ended that any good lawyer, any good defense attorney would be able to tear that apart in 30 seconds. It's an embarrassment to the law that anybody would file an affidavit like that, filled with hearsay, filled with, well, I was raped, but he didn't rape me. He was there. He saw it. Where was he? There are witnesses. People told me. It happened 10 times. I went back. I knew there were rapes going on, but I went back to the party. This is such a deeply flawed affidavit.
Well,
you would expect it from Michael Avenatti.
Yeah. And, well, let me ask you about that. Is this affidavit, does it cross some line where there could be professional consequences? There is a bar association that gives out legal licenses. Could they act on that?
Well, no, I don't think it reaches that line, but it certainly is an extraordinarily weak affidavit. I'd want to know who drafted it. I'd want to know why they didn't fill in the gaps. If there are people who saw this, name them. Was she raped, does she say, by Kavanaugh, by Judge? Did he see it? Was he in the room? Why didn't, if there were gang rapes like that, how did it not get to the police? It's a shocking affidavit, and any lawyer who loves cross-examination would love nothing more than to examine a witness holding that affidavit in his hand and saying, here, here, here. But Avenatti doesn't care about that. All he cares about is getting the headline. The headline has been gotten. Maybe she'll testify, maybe she won't. But if she testifies, she'll be cross-examined in a very effective manner by a good cross-examiner.
I wonder, though, are we reaching a place where the social pressure on all of us not to ask real questions, not to see if the claims align with common sense, has become so intense that everyone's too afraid to ask real questions?
Oh, it's terrible, because you had a woman today on television saying it's sexist to have appointed a woman lawyer. She would have said it was sexist to appoint a male lawyer. You need a gender-neutral robot now to cross-examine if you want to avoid claims of sexism. It's a no-win. Cross-examination must be effective, and it must be tough. It has to be respectful. You can be respectful and tough, but do not pull punches. There's so much at stake here. A man's life, his reputation, his career, his family, the women, their credibility, the people of America having a justice sitting on the Supreme Court. The stakes are too high. Look, I don't agree with the Republicans that you have to take a vote on Friday. I don't agree with the Republicans that there shouldn't be a continuing background check. There's no reason not to have a background check. Time should not be the determining factor when you're putting somebody on the Supreme Court for a lifetime. Truth has to be the determining factor. We can't let this vote happen until we know whether these serious allegations did or did not occur, and there can't be a presumption of guilt.
There can't be a presumption of guilt.
No.
You're one of the very few who's saying that. This moment must be driving you crazy. Professor, thank you very much.
Thank you.